Hello, manifestors. So, are you really going for what you want? This is the question we are going to answer today because when we have a specific desire, usually that specific desire is big, meaning we have a rather strong attachment to it. So there is a difference between manifesting something that we don't really care about. Just think about it once, say, well, that's mine, it's done. Then it is, right? It just appears. But what about when you really, really want that thing for months and years and it's still not here? It's because you are doing the two things that I'm going to discuss in this video today. So be sure to listen in all the way to the end. Be sure to like the video to help my channel. Also subscribe if you haven't. That also helps the channel to grow. And let's go into it. So again, in this video, I am going to speak from experience, my own experience and that of all my clients, all those many people that I'm helping. There is a huge difference between manifesting something we are completely detached from, meaning it's not earth-shattering, it's not something that we feel extremely attached to, and something that we are extremely attached to. And the thing is, as humans, there's always going to be some things we don't really care about and some things we care more about. As long as we are in this body with a human mind, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the case. That we can't change that, right? I mean, we are going to be more attached to some things than others, period. And we can't change that. And yes, of course, it is so much easier to manifest things we are not so attached to than things that we are very attached to. And why is that? Well, the main reason why is that when we are not attached or not very much attached to an outcome, we do not create a contradicting story, number one. And number two, we do not keep on telling ourselves the old story. Those are the two things we are going to discuss because those are the two things that are preventing you from manifesting your big desire. So number one, when we have a desire that we're not very attached to, right? We do not create a state of lack, a state of wants, or even a state of hoping something will happen, right? We do not create this type of state between us and our desire. We are in a very cool, relaxed state. I want it, I know I can have it, boom, it will manifest. And that, by the way, it's for anything. Some people are able to completely be relaxed and detached from a specific person, but some are not, and many are not. But what I mean is, it doesn't even has anything to do with the type of desire, but rather how attached you are to whatever desire you have. It could be money, it could be health, it could be a specific person. Those three things are things that are important for most people. But some people are able to detach more in one area than another. And usually it's when they feel more complete from within without their desire to start with. So they are not telling themselves a contradicting story all day long. And this is why, no matter what it is, no matter what their desire is, they usually manifest that very quickly. However, no matter what your desire is, if you are in a state of wanting it, of lacking it, or even hoping for it, hoping as in I don't have it, I really hope it's coming. If you are in that state, trust me 120% that you are not on your way to manifest your desire. Because, guys, your imagination works 24/7. So usually when you are in a state of lack, in the state of waiting, in the state of still desiring, you are imagining 24/7, right? Because that's what imagination is. We do not imagine only when we close our eyes and go in a sats or in meditation or in a little imaginal act. No, we don't imagine only in those moments. We imagine all the time. So when you are in the state of lack, trust me, guys, trust me. You are imagining from that state. You are thinking of your desire most of the time, but from not having it. You are thinking of your desire, but from not having it. So you are missing your desire. You are wanting your desire. You are wishing it was here. But you're not thinking from someone, from the state of someone who has their desire. And frankly, I see people doing this over and over, week after week, month after month, years even after years. So if you have a desire, I don't care what it is, a specific person, money, health, anything else. If you feel that it's been resisting you for the longest time by now, this is what you've been doing. You have been in a state of wishing that it was here, but from a state of lack, from a state of wait, from a state of not having. Here's a quote from Neville from his lesson number 2, Assumptions Hardened into Fact, that I've mentioned in my last podcast, by the way. I cannot have and still continue to desire what I have. I may enjoy it, but I cannot continue wanting it. This quote, very short but very clear, tells it all, right? When you are still in the state of desiring, you still want your thing, you are still desiring it, you don't have it. Just take a few moments and think about something that you have. Anything, something that you have right now, even a big thing, but you know you've got that, right? You've got it, you have it. It's part of your life. You are enjoying it probably, as Neville says here, right? You are enjoying it, but you stop wanting it. You stop desiring it. So you need to pay attention to this, guys. If you have a big desire and you are still in that state of desiring it, you're not living in the end, right? You're not in the state of having it. And if that has been going on for much longer than you would have wanted, this is what you need to start doing, guys. And what you need to start doing is taking the bull by the horns and be on top of your mental diet. I think that at this point, just imaginal acts here and there is not going to be enough. And the reason why, it's because my guess is, and again, from my own experience, I don't even have to go into other people's stories, which I still go into because as a coach, I see those stories. But really, speaking for myself here, even though you may be excellent at doing sats, imaginal acts, whatever, the rest of the day, because a day, it's a long time, right? There are many minutes and hours in a day. There is plenty of room to create opposite stories all day long. So if you have been doing imaginal acts, but you still don't have your desire, and I've been there and done that, it means that you have to control your mind all day long. And you know what? On a moment basis, you have, every time your mind is free. So when your mind is busy, if you have any type of job that is taking your mind over, which is great, right? When you are busy doing your job, when you are busy thinking about something else than your desire, that's fine. You do that, right? You have to live your life. But every time you have moments where your mind is free, you have to create a new story and tell it to yourself. You have to create a new story and tell yourself that story. You have to ask yourself, what was I thinking right now? Was I thinking from the person who has their desire? Was I thinking all the things that I'm supposed to be thinking from someone who has their desire? Or not? If not, you have to step in. You have to step in and create a narrative in your mind that you run over and over and over. All throughout the day, every time your mind is free and start going places, you want to redirect that mind and tell yourself the story that you want to hear and experience, and no longer, don't give it a single second anymore. The story that means that you don't have your desire. And the second point is leave the old story alone. If you can't seem to be able to leave it alone, revise it. Revise it. Revision really works. Revising is choosing a different story, a different past, a different option that already existed anyway because creation is finished. So you revise over and over until you feel that you can think of the revision more than the original version. If you don't want to revise, just leave the old story alone. Really trash it for good. Do not go back to it. Because as long as you go back to the old story, even good memories are not that good to go back to because it still brings you to the past. And when you want to create your desire fulfilled, you don't want to go to the past, even the good past. Just leave the past alone or revise it. But by all means, stop telling yourself that old story. Because as long as you tell yourself the old story, it's going to prevent you from manifesting your desire. Because it's going to prevent you, by all means, by default, from living in the end of your desire fulfilled. Because in the end, if you are after your desire for a long time by now, and you've been telling me that you're doing SATs, you're doing imaginal act, but you still don't have your desire, it's because of the story that you are telling yourself that you are not the person that you want to be. So from now on, create a story. Even take a pen and paper or a notebook or a journal and start writing your new story. And learn that freaking new story by heart if you have to. Repeat to yourself that new story, embody that new story until you feel part of it. And by the way, as you fall asleep, run that new story over and over in your mind. Especially if you have been doing SATs with visualizations and apparently it hasn't changed anything for you. Start running that story mentally. Tell yourself who you are. Tell yourself how it feels to have your desire. And feel it. Tell yourself and feel it. Tell yourself and feel it. Tell yourself and feel it until you fall asleep. Do it over and over and over. If you do this, give yourself a challenge of doing this for a whole month. And I promise you that before the end of the month, you are going to shift, that's for sure. Right? You are going to shift very, very quickly, as a matter of fact. In a matter of days. And in a matter of weeks maybe, or just even a week or so, whatever. In a short time, you are going to start seeing movements. And you are going to know that those movements are leading to your manifested. So guys, thank you for listening, watching, And I really, really hope that it was helpful. Actually, I know it was. I know it was helpful. Please tell me down below in the comments if it was, and I'll see you next time.